Hello, 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 YouTube. Hello, guys. That's right. It's your girl, Ebony, with Real Talk Therapy 101. Coming through, I know it's been a minute. Really missed being in this element and having our conversations. But like I told you guys from the last video, your girl has been completely booked and busy. So taking a little time out today to come through and have one of the realest real talk conversations that we have probably had since I've started the channel. So to my faithful viewers that have been waiting for me patiently and coming through, commenting, sharing, and reaching out on personal levels to encourage me to get back to things because you guys are missing me. I want to thank you. To any of you that are new to the channel, I want to welcome you and hope that you're here to stay because, as promised, things are getting ready to take flight with me and with Real Talk Therapy. So, just to give you guys a background or introduction, as to who I am and the purpose of the channel. My name is Ebony Campbell, and I am a certified alcohol and drug counselor in the state of North Carolina. I am also a certified peer support specialist in the state of North Carolina, as well as a master level qualified professional in behavioral health, again, in the state of North Carolina. I am currently in school working on my master's in social work so that I can become a licensed clinical social worker as well in the state of North Carolina, and hopefully venturing out in some other states really soon. Recently completed some things to make Real Talk Therapy 101 official. With the channel, I actually have real talk conversations where people who are not in a place of going to seek licensed professional help to talk about some of those things where they're stuck in uncharted waters. You can come here with me, talk about it in a real way, and see if you can't get from one place to the other. On the business side of it, I am turning Real Talk Therapy 101 into a consulting company as well as a behavioral and mental health agency here soon. So a lot of things have transpired since we talked last, but let's just say it's a little bit more official than it once was. And so I really thank all of you guys for being supportive, being encouraging, and being a part of the channel. On the channel, I have gone through the phases of trying to figure out how I'm gonna do things, trying to figure out where I'm having these conversations at. If you're new or you go from the first day of September to this day, you'll see a lot of different things, but I don't ever want you guys to miss the message. So I've been experimenting with YouTube, doing some different things. You know, I came in with the concept of it being real, and so we're not going to venture away from that. We're going to stay as real as we can possibly be with these conversations and with these things that we talk about. I usually feature a t-shirt custom made. Luxury Tax Clothing is where you can order those t-shirts if that's what you would like. You let me know, get it made for you. I'm gonna get back into that, but today, because I just I'll explain to you why there's no custom made t-shirt when we go into our conversation, and why I'm kind of coming to you guys dressed plain, not plain, but dressed as I normally would without having to create a t-shirt and be on the channel. I also like Coach. It's an addiction, if I'm honest about it. And I always feature a Coach bag and or accessory of the day on the channel, or at least I try to, and kicks of the day. So the way I've been able to do the camera today, you all are able to see, we have on our wine burgundy Vapor Max and dress little girly gangster for the day. It's 77 degrees in North Carolina, even though it's the first day of March. Spring is soon approaching, and so it feels really good here, and I just want to feel really good when I step out. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So the Coach accessory is my Coach jewelry box. I think I may have told you guys about it. I'm not really sure if I've ever featured it. But I think I may have. But at any rate, I'm not a big jewelry person. I usually just wear my wedding set. I have a couple of bracelets, almost always with my smartwatch on. But I do have a jewelry box. The boys bought it for me. I can't remember if it was Mother's Day or Christmas, but you can get a lot of good little stuff in here. Bracelets are a thing of mine. I love bead bracelets with different themes and different things on them. I have my Pandora bracelet on. I have a charm bracelet on today that has some really, really cool, near and dear to my heart charms on it. And so I don't wear my jewelry much, but when I do, we're going to talk about how it goes through. So in my hand is my Noah's Ark bracelet, and that's part of our conversation for today. So I'm going to put my accessories down. And for those of you who have been rocking with me from the beginning, as I always try to find a niche or a space for us to have a conversation, I am back in the little corner where I had kind of settled on a little while ago, before I started messing with my green screen and trying to do backgrounds and all that good stuff, and before renovations were done to the house and stuff. So back in my little handy dandy chair, my little home office is where this is, and it's where I do a lot of virtual work when I'm actually working. It's telling me more light is required, so let me see if that'll help. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't hurt you guys, but hopefully you can see here and everything is good to go. So again, here on Real Talk Therapy 101, we talk about real life situations, how to handle them, how to get from one place to another, and I call those places uncharted waters, because we end up in spaces and places that we've never been before. And if we don't talk to somebody about it to try to help us get through it, sometimes we can be stuck. And when you're stuck, you can find yourself going through 1,000 different things in 1,000 different ways without help and without direction. And sometimes when you're stuck and you find that you're able to start moving through those uncharted waters again, you may end up going backwards and going back to something, but just going in a different way, because you're in a uncharted space and you really don't know where you're going, but you know you don't want to be where you are. And so in that, mentally, I talk about mental health. There's a stigma, of course. A lot of us don't think that we need it because we say we're not crazy or we don't have something going on. Well, you don't have to be crazy to receive mental help. You do not have to be crazy to have a conversation with someone who may be able to help you figure out why you're stuck and help you develop a plan to help you come from that unstuck place to get to the next place. And I've often talked about professionals needing professionals. So when we do this work all day, in and out, there's no stop to it. And as you can see, I went from being able to do a video every day, making time to do a video every day, to getting to this point in my my schooling, getting to this point with work. Your girl title has changed, the responsibility has changed, the money has changed. But with all of that comes a little more time that I have to devote to the craft. And so the effort that has to be put into it has also changed. So there's a lot of things that end up changing. And today, I just want to share with you guys that the only human beings on this earth that like change are wet babies. A baby wants to be changed. They like to be changed. They can't tell you, hey, my diaper needs to be changed, so they cry. And as a parent, you're having to try to figure out if that baby's crying because they want milk, or if they're crying because they need affection, or if they're crying because they're hungry or need their diaper changed. So you go through all the motions of trying to figure out why that baby is crying. But if you ever change the baby's diaper and the baby stops crying, that was the change that the baby needed. And so babies are the only human beings who like change. The rest of us have problems and issues with change. Some of us want to stay the same because you're afraid of the change that needs to be made in you. Some of us will go through this life and continue to act like and pretend as though we don't need to change. Some of us will feel like everything and everyone around us should change, but not us. We're not the issue. We're not the problem. We've done what we needed to do, so everybody else around me needs to change. I want to share with you guys today that we've talked about, change in so many different ways on the channel. And at one episode, I talked about the man in the mirror and Michael Jackson's song that says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. You have to start with the man and or woman and or whatever you identify as in the mirror with your change. It has to start with you. It cannot be that everybody else needs to change and you don't have to do anything. If you're a part of it, you need to make adjustments and changes too. Sometimes those things can be so that you can get from the place that you're stuck in. Sometimes that change needs to take place so that others around you can see that they're no longer welcome in your circle or no longer welcome or a part of your journey. And sometimes those people will find the strength and what needs to be, done for them to walk away. Sometimes you don't have to say and or do anything, but you do need to be mindful of everything. And you definitely need to be mindful of those things that begin with you, are surrounded around you, or centered around you. So today, usually too, we're talking, guys, I do use songs, I use movies, I use metaphors, cliches, spiritual examples, and because I'm not actually providing treatment on the channel per se in a structural way, it's kind of non-conventional here on the channel. I may use some spiritual examples from my spiritual belief, which is I'm a Christian, so I believe in the Bible, and that's usually where I may focus from. So please don't get offended. Please don't, not listen. The lesson is there. You can relate it to your spiritual belief, whatever that may be. But I just don't want you guys to miss the lessons that are in these conversations. And recently I had started realizing that sometimes if we're going to, have real talk here, sometimes these conversations are not necessarily meant for someone else. Sometimes in life, I'm realizing that when I'm sitting and I'm doing videos for this channel, or I'm dealing with something on a personal level, that it may be for me. And sometimes we have to hear it in order to receive it. And in order to believe something, you have to be in a place of receiving it. And if you think that you're perfect just the way you are, I'm not here to tell you that you're not. If you think that you don't need to make a change, I'm not here to tell you that you're not. I'm just here to encourage you to look at those things that's going on around you. And if you're the common denominator and everything seems to be falling in a light that only you want to see, or it becomes a situation in a way that only you can see, then you might want to take some time to reevaluate your thought process on some stuff. And I'm only coming from a place of experience. So like I said, today will be one of the realest conversations I think I've ever had with you guys, because I'm finding myself in some uncharted waters. I'm in a place that I've never been before. I'm in a thought process that I've never been before. I'm in a space that I've never been before. And quite naturally, I want to sort this out and figure it out on my own. I want to really sit back, think about what's going on in my mind, think about what's going on in my head, and think about what I want to do moving forward. As an entrepreneur, I'm experiencing some things in my current position on my current job that is almost discouraging from opening my own company. When you are dealing with people who are unappreciative, don't want to do what they're supposed to do, don't feel like they're supposed to do their job, when you're dealing with with grown people that are immature and are not in a place to receive the training and guidance and all of those things that they need in order to be effective on their job, it could get a little messy. It can get a little discouraging. It can get a little confrontational. It can almost get to a place of wanting to lay your professional hat down and letting them know who they really dealing with. I'm Campbell by marriage, Williams by birth, mixed with a little Patterson with my dad. So naturally, I have the ability to love and be faithful to a fault, but I also have the ability to, if I get on the other end of that spectrum, lay it down, do what I need to do, and then never fool with you again. But when I'm in the middle, I can function either way. Whether you're in my life, I don't have an issue with you. Whether you're not, I don't have an issue with you. But I always have to make sure that I govern myself accordingly so that when the smoke clears after the chips may fall, everybody understands their place and they know how to move forward. Stuff can be done without it being done in that manner. But sometimes, you know, as the world is saying right now, the kids have brought it out, you got to pop out and show folks sometimes who they're dealing with. So when I'm at work, I'm a completely different beast because everything has to be done according to the policies and the procedures that govern the work that we do. So even though I am friendly, I'm very personable, I'm a lover of people. I like people. I don't have an issue with people. What I have an issue with is people who don't want to do what they are supposed to do. And so because I have been a people pleaser for a majority of my life, I found myself trying to please everybody and trying to make sure everybody was comfortable with me. We talked about this before. I can't do it. It's not humanly possible. So I got to be me. And the version of me at work is still me, but it's me that's going to hold you accountable now. It's not me that's going to jump on your bandwagon and make excuses for you when you don't do the work that you was assigned to do and the work that you have been paid to do. And if I'm training you and asking you to do it in the right way, but you insist on trying to do it your way because maybe you think you can do it like me, you can't. You have to develop your own way. My way of doing this type of work I'm still in development. I'm still working on it. I am still a work in progress. I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. But if I know what I know and I tell you, hey, we got to do this way, then let's do this way. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. And so in that, you know, it just comes a time where you kind of have to roll with the punches, so to speak, and just like, hey, all right, I've given you the verbal warning. I've told you what you needed to do. You insisted on doing what you need to do, so I'm gonna send you on over to HR. And our HR team that we have right now, I call them the sisters, because they ain't playing. When you go to them, they're going to go ahead and dismiss the behavior if it warrants that. So you have to know that, you know, on the job, you have to take stuff seriously because in behavioral health, we are assisting people who come to us broken in some form or fashion, no matter how the referral got there, but they are seeking some validation. They are seeking some assistance. They're seeking some help. So when working with clients in this capacity and in that light, self-preservation has no room there. You have to learn to die to self so that you can help your clients. So in order to learn to die to self, you got to learn yourself. You know, I went through a whole couple of weeks segment about the self-care and the journey and knowing who you are. And sometimes in order to know who you are or where you've gotten in your journey, you might have to step back and see if you could do some things on your own. So, told you my prop was my jewelry box. Sometimes I need help with one of the bracelets that I have on, the charm bracelet. Sometimes I can get it on. Sometimes there's no issue. Now, my Pandora bracelet, which was a gift from my mom, and then a couple of years ago, my family had me a birthday party, appreciation type thing, and everybody that came got me charms. so I could fill up my bracelet. And I thought that was really cool. That's the easiest bracelet that I have to put on other than my bead bracelets. But my Noah's Ark charm bracelet that I wanted is one that I almost always need help with. So today I said I was going to make today a day of trying to do things for myself, by myself, because we never know what we can do until we try. And I never tried to put it on. Well, yes, I have. I've tried to put it on by myself. I get frustrated, and then I just leave it alone. But today is a day of trying. And so all day today, no matter what I do, you know, when I finish this video and go about the rest of my day, if I'm going to get something to eat or, you know, whatever I may do, I'm going to make it a point to keep trying today to put this bracelet on without help, and keep trying to put it on without help, because sometimes there are going to be some things that we're just going to simply have to be able to do on our own. And sorting through what's on your mind, sorting through how you feel, being able to have a conversation with people about how you feel, an honest and open conversation, being able to recognize what you're feeling and what you're really going through, being able to stop looking to place blame and to stop looking into stuff that people do or say and making it about you. Sometimes you have to sit and do some of this stuff on your own. Sometimes you got to really sit down and say, hey, did I just see what I think I saw? Did I just hear what I thought I heard? Is this really what it is? Or is this how I form things in my mind? Am I really over the fact that things didn't work out at this last job, or things didn't work out in this relationship, or 40 whatever years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and I'm having to start over in areas that I thought I would never have to start over in, or go back to school, or learn things on a job, or relearn things on a job. You know, is it really the person that's trying to help me and be there for me, or is it how I'm receiving how they're being there and working with me? And it takes a conversation. And conversations can get heated, you know what I'm saying? Conversations can be debatable. Everybody don't have to agree, but everybody has the right to be heard. And so if you're going to have a conversation, a real conversation, you have to be able to listen to where people are coming from, what their thoughts are, and then be able to communicate how you feel, how your thoughts are. And then, yes, there's another part to it. Come together at some point and find a peaceful medium. Come together at some point and find a solution. It's not one person's responsibility to find a solution. But if you can sit down, people used to call it a pros and cons list. If you can sit down and write out a list of pros and cons for yourself, and in your mind sort through that, you know, situations need to take a turn, or certain things need to change because you've done what you felt like you needed to do. You don't feel like you're receiving it, or it's being reciprocated, or you just feel like something looks the way it is, whether it's that way or not. You just got to be able to say how you feel. Y'all say it right now, speak your peace, or know your truth, or whatever these little sayings y'all get on. The end result is just being real. You know, right now I'm pissed. So if you're pissed, be pissed. And say that. And if the person that you're pissed with or upset with, or however you're feeling, you got to first own what you're feeling. Because if you don't own it, you won't be able to communicate it. If you don't recognize it, you won't be able to have a conversation with anybody, because you're going to be all over the place. So you do have to take time to do that. Music is a solace for me. Music helps my mind to not race and be all over the place. Music helps me to not look at stuff negatively. It helps me to be able to kind of look at where I'm at and figure out, you know, okay, do I need to give this more thought? Do I need to spend more time on this? Or do I need to go ahead and call it a wrap and, you know, just leave it alone? Do I need to say something? Nah. Do I need to or want to say something? Nah. Because every time we open our mouths, we got to remember whatever comes out sticks with people. And we got to remember, too, that whatever comes out of other people's mouths to us or about us or in ways that offend us, it sticks with us, too. And so if you never talk about it, if you never have a conversation about it, the people who do those things to you will go through life thinking that it's okay. And it's not. And the people that you do those things to, if they never tell you or call you out on your own mess, because people see you in ways you will never see yourself. Now, I'm going to hit you with that one more time. People look at you and see you in ways that you will never see yourself. And people will also look at what you do and look at what you say, and based off what they want from you, they will take offense to it in ways that it wasn't even meant to it didn't even have nothing to do with them a lot of times. But because of how they look and feel about you, everything you do, say, whatever, they receive it in however they want to receive it, and then they respond or react a certain way. In those moments of truth and conversation, one thing that I've learned is that if I am in a space of really needing to get my point across or saying what I need to say, if my voice has to elevate, if the energy shifts in the room, I'm going to stop and announce that, but I'm going to say what I need to say. Because if you hold it, you guys know what happens when you sweep stuff under the rug. It becomes hard to walk around in the comfort of your own home. And then maybe that isn't comfort. Maybe you've convinced yourself that it's comfort. Maybe you've convinced yourself of all these different things, especially if you're the one that is constantly trying to adapt and those around you are not trying to do that same thing. And so I want to share with you that you have got to learn how to be your own best friend. You've got to learn how to look in the mirror, and your brightest smile that you have on your face when you see people that just make you feel good inside, loved ones, husbands, kids, friends, whoever, the people that bring that out of you, you got to be able to bring that out of yourself. You got to be able to look in the mirror, and instead of looking in the mirror and looking for flaws or looking at flaws and looking for reasons to not be the best version of you, you got to look in that mirror at yourself and be like, okay, I see you, boo. The same affirmations and the same hype up I do for other people, I have to be able to do for me. The same things that you give and do to other people, you have to be able to do those things for you. So right now, Victor Thompson's single that's out, he's a Nigerian gospel artist. Just started following him on YouTube. I actually heard his song on Mano's Instagram. And you guys, I have an Instagram. It's in my bio. Please follow. Because Instagram content is a little different than YouTube. And I am on Instagram a lot more than I am on YouTube. But at any rate, his song is called Blessings. And when I don't know words to songs, I'm just like everybody else. I make up what I think I hear, then I just sing and sing and sing. But there's ways to Google lyrics to songs. Apple Music has a little lyric button that you can hit and read the lyrics or sing the lyrics as you're playing the song. And so he's saying this year, no stress, just blessed testimonies. Things that stress you out, you give them the ability to do that. So it's nobody's job. Remember, I told y'all, it's nobody's job to make you happy. It's nobody's job to protect your peace. That's your peace and that's your happiness. So you have to figure out what makes you happy. You have to figure out how to manage and protect your own peace. We should protect one another's feelings. So if I love you, I care about you, you mean something to me, I may go all out of my way to make sure you're good and you're straight, and I don't, want to try to hurt your feelings, but sometimes we got to have those hard conversations. Friends, family, whatever. Sometimes it just has to happen. But those people who really love you, they're going to always ride for you. It doesn't matter in that capacity. And for those that you love, you're going to always find ways to ride for them. And sometimes you have to love people enough to let them do what they need to do so they can show you if that's being a part of your life or not. We can't keep forcing things, forcing people to do things and be in places and to see things the way that you see them. You got to let people be who they are. And when they are who they are and they show you and they tell you that, you got to accept it, receive it, accept it. And then start thinking about what you're going to do to get through this uncharted place. Because you can't keep doing the same thing. And it hurts you anyway. If you're doing the same thing you're cool and you're good with, then hey, by all means have at it. But if you're at a place where it's truly affecting you, it's keeping you from, maneuvering and doing what you need to do in the field. It's called your daily activities of life, or daily living activities, the stuff that you find solace in doing. If it's keeping you from being able to do those things and enjoy those things, you first got to have a heart-to-heart and a one-on-one with yourself. But when he says blessings, nothing but testimonies, and he says he's going to pray to his Father, and so blessings are going to follow you, they go. And I'm going to try to put a snippet of the song at the end. I'm trying to figure that out, but if not, I will definitely do a screenshot of it from my Apple Music. But listening to and he did a remix with Gunna, which was dope. So you have to listen to what he's saying. You have to. He's like, everything you've been wanting, manifest it for your life. And then the verse says, everything I've been wanting, I manifested for my life. He wanted to be able to travel from Nigeria to the States. He wanted to be able to bless his family. He wanted to be able to bless his church. He wanted to be a blessing. And so he started to manifest those things in his life. And now his connections are far beyond what he thought he could do. So a lot of times we sit and dwell on negative stuff. We sit and dwell on, well, this ain't going how I wanted to go, but we ain't doing nothing to make it get that way. Because if something's not going the way you want it to go, you need to do what you need to do for it to go that way. Quit sitting around and blaming other people. It's just not right. So if you're on a job and you feel like the job ain't going the way you want it to go because you can't do what you want to do, or for whatever reason, quit. Go find the job that you want or create it. If things aren't going right in a friendship or a relationship, have the conversation. See what needs to be said that hasn't been said. See what possibly needs to change that hasn't changed. And like I said, if you can come to some common ground and move forward, great. If you can't, sometimes you have to start the process of, letting go. And it may be what you're supposed to do. It may not be. But again, you don't know unless you talk about it. You gotta converse about it. But you gotta start with the conversation in your head that doesn't always end with you being right. Because who's always right? People have their ways, their points, and what they want to say, how they feel. And sometimes people don't. Originality is an art. So, some folks just aren't original. They just don't know how to create the paths of their own. And it's in some things. Because some people can be great at one thing and not good at the other. But you want to have an at least overall good balance about everything when it pertains to your life, especially your happiness and how you feel. And so, in saying that, I could easily ask for help with this bracelet, or I can keep trying. And in keeping trying, if I don't get it today, it doesn't mean that I'll never wear my bracelet again. It just means I gotta try a little harder the next time. And eventually I may get it, and if I don't ever get it, I do know who and where I can go to for sources of help, because my support system looks different with every turn of every decision that I make to start putting me in, in the top 5 of my life. And that can work for you as well. You don't have to sit around and ponder and be the only person doing the work, making the changes and doing all of that stuff, but you do need to do that. And in doing that, you'll start to see that there's some things that you stood for and stood on that just wasn't who you were. And you need to be able to be honest with who we are. Because if we pretend to be a certain version of ourselves, or if we pretend, that's one of the games that as a child, make believe was one of my favorite things to do. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you guys, but kind of in closing, I want to share this. I used to be my granny girl's girl. You guys have heard me talk about my grandmothers a lot, but my maternal grandma, my mom had me when she was 17, so she had to go back to school, and I spent a lot of time with my granny girl. And she watched the news, and then we watched Price is Right every day. So if I didn't go to school, or before I started school, and then when I started, if I didn't go to school, we looked at Price is Right, and I loved Bob Barker. I still love Bob Barker. When he passed away, that did something to me. Bob was my guy. But I wanted to be a Barker girl. And as a little girl, I had some hair, but it was nappy and always in ponytails and bows. But the Barker Beauties had this long flowing hair, so I would go and get a white body towel out of the linen closet and wrap it on my head and pretend to be a Barker Beauty. And I played that game, I don't know for how long, but it's just one of the earliest memories that I have of playing make believe and pretend. As you get older, when you're going through those cycles of early adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood, if you are not comfortable with every part of you, you will pretend to be something that you're not. And you can only pretend for so long. And a lot of times people genuinely love you and want to be around you because they've recognized who you are genuinely and not who you're pretending to be. So when you start playing make-believe, if you aren't careful, you will convince yourself that you're somebody that you're not. And like we talked about the wolf in sheep's clothing, the wolf can't wear the sheep's clothing but for so long. After a while, he got to come out of it. It doesn't fit. It doesn't look right. You can tell that the wolf is not the sheep. That's what happens when we pretend, and you become the great pretender, and then, you know, things start falling apart because you don't see what's right before your very eyes. You don't recognize that what you think is okay is not okay. You don't see gaslighting when it's being done to you. You don't see manipulation when it's being done to you. You don't see controlling and things like that when it's being done to you, because you've pretended to be this version that people wanted you to be. And when you can no longer perform at that level, they start giving you the business because to them, you changed. But in reality, they never knew you. And it's not their fault. It's your fault because you didn't disclose who you really were. So, you know, you don't have to play a game. You don't have to pretend when you get to certain points in your life. You really need to discover who you are versus who you've been pretending to be, so that you will know what you need out of your life and what you can do, you know, for yourself, by yourself, enjoying your own company, not relying on and or needing anybody to validate if you're okay or if you're in a happy space. And sometimes not being okay is okay. And only you would know that if you know what you're able to deal with. So, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thank you, those of you who may be new to the channel and joining. Please check out my IG page if you haven't already. Please like, comment, and most definitely subscribe so that we can move things on the path that they need to be moving. And keep looking forward to some big things. But I want you to get out here and be able to know that if you're not receiving what you're giving, chances are you're giving it from a different place. You're not genuinely giving it from your heart. And those that are receiving it genuinely don't want it. They want whatever benefits them. And you have to be able to see the difference in that so that you can figure out how to get through these uncharted waters without going back to doing the same things that you used to do. Remember, I told y'all patterns and behaviors are very recognizable. And before long, everybody can figure out what it is you're doing and where it is you're going. Real change, though, it comes with a difference of actions, it comes with a different response to things, and it comes with just a different way of thinking overall. So, it is self-care Saturday. It's still early around my way, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. You all need to do the same. And until next time, thank you for stopping by Real Talk Therapy 101 and having those conversations with your girl Ebony. Bye now.